I'm not okay. I keep trying to tell myself to forgive you, but I can't let it go. I can't forgive you. I can't forget. It keeps haunting me, slowly chipping away at my soul. I keep trying to tell myself that it's not fair to blame you when you weren't there for me through some of my toughest times because you were suffering too. However, I put my suffering aside to support you and swallowed the pain to hold you adrift while I drowned. Fortunately, I was blessed by many strangers that saved me. As a friend, I can forgive and forget, as no one is obligated to me. However, now that we've been friends for over a year, it has continuously gnawed at my heart. I know it's not fair. It would have been nice if you helped lift it or supported me during that time, but all you could do was wallow in your own torment. Regardless, I stood by your side because I saw potential in you. I also know that it has already passed, so I shouldn't let it come in the way of us. You say you care, but do you really? Do your actions really reflect your words? I know I care about you even if I often questioned your actions. I've always tried my best to stand by your side and supported you in whatever endeavors you sought. I admit that there were a few times that I didn't support you, like when you took them to a veterinary visit or your first COVID vaccine. But always, I tried my best to take care of you emotionally, physically, and financially. I will also thank and acknowledge that you helped me with the water, electricity, and gas bill while I took care of every other expense. It's important to give credit where credit is due. My point is that we aren't perfect and that we have flaws and things that we can improve on. And there are always two sides to the story, so take my point of view with a grain of salt. It hurt me so much when you thought I didn't love my cats anymore because I wouldn't express love for them the same way as you. It hurt me even more when you became colder and more distant from me because of this. It felt like you were only staying with me because it was comfortable and convenient, and if the opportunity arose, you would leave without hesitating. To see you making plans for your own departure to Australia struck a painful chord. Was I only worth that little to you? I decided to give the cats away because I was going broke financially, and I knew eventually that I wouldn't be able to take care of myself. I was falling apart. My world was crumbling, and I didn't want my babies to suffer. So that's why I started seeking a proper and stable home for them. I had to act before it was too late. As much as I cared for them, I also hated how much work it was. I wasn't prepared or trained for it. I was a fool, but I also knew my limit. I still vividly remember how you instantly regretted and cried after trying to give one of the cats away. You wanted to take back your words, and so I questioned you firmly if you were truly ready to take on the task of raising the cats. Yes, this was your reply, and I stupidly stood by your side and guided you on how to maintain a good relationship with that person while also getting to keep the cat. Looking back, sometimes I think I should have disagreed and just let the cats go because you weren't truly ready to take care of them physically, emotionally, and financially. All I can do is blame myself and continue to crumble because this decision has done nothing but hurt me. I know, it sounds like I'm blaming you, and I kept trying to tell myself that it's not your fault, but no matter how hard I fight it, it still lingers in my heart. At the end of the day, whatever happens, the responsibility ultimately falls on me. I asked if you really cared about me because during my final 2 months, you barely spent any time with me. You missed the cats much more than me. It felt as if I was taken for granted, as if I was less than an animal. The fact that the cats caused more than $5,000 in damage, while you stayed so quiet, was upsetting. I lied to my sister that it was just wall damage. I lied to my landlord when he told me that I should demand you to pay for some of the damages. But I just lied that you did. I protected you again and again so that no fault would fall upon you. I did whatever I could to protect your dignity. When the truth finally came out that I could no longer afford to live my current lifestyle, you fell apart. You became so stressed that you had so many sleepless nights. I did all I could in my power to help you sleep. I patiently cared and tried everything that I could. I cared so deeply for you. Even when you got stressed, angry, and emotional, I stayed calm and did all I could to accommodate you because I care for you. I think you know. I think you know this as we discussed this a little bit before, but it boggles my mind how I was the one falling down, that I was the one without any sort of backup. Yet, I put you before myself again. Here I was, living in a foreign land, a foreign home, no family to rely on directly should I lose my home. Yet, here I was, putting someone that was in their homeland, had no real financial concerns about being homeless, and had a family to return to easily in the worst case scenario in front of me. I needed your support the most in these sorts of stressful scenarios. Instead, why was I just taking care of you? Why was it such a one-way street? Am I selfish or wrong here to ask for some care back? Sure, I appreciate that you helped me with moving out and selling some things, but I felt so awful for asking you for any of them. I didn't feel good relying on you because it felt like I would just continue to stress and burden you. All I hoped for in return was your love, care, time, and support. Yet, I seldom saw you during the weekdays and mostly on the weekends. I begged in my heart for you to stay. I even told you countless times that it made me feel sad every time you were leaving. I could understand that in the first 2 weeks, you had to spend a lot of time at your ex-boyfriend's place to train him and the cats. This, I 100% support. What I don't understand is that, or what I didn't understand, is that afterward, for the remaining 6 weeks, you spent the majority of it at his home. Again, When my world was falling apart, you stayed where it was most convenient for you, what you desired the most. Not much care for me. I know. You couldn't just dump the babies and not spend any time with their new father, so that's why I barely saw you. So in a way, it's understandable, even if it was agonizing to me at that time. You tell me that you care, but you offered not a single penny for the damages from the cats. I most likely would have said no if you offered because I knew your desire to return to Australia. But the fact that you didn't even offer hurts a lot. Some people they might think that it's about the money, but it's not. It's about the gesture. What have you sacrificed for me? What have you given up for me? The cosmetic surgery money, the cat money, the trip to Australia. Have you ever tried to give up anything for me? Can you see why I'm so hurt when I stood by your side again and again? To hear you thank me now that you're in Australia and suffering. It is only now that you're able to truly utter any words of appreciation, only after you're suffering, only when it is already too late. Alas, it's just words too. Why even tell me this? Alright, why not say it to me or show it to me through actions when we were still together? It doesn't make me feel better. Quite the opposite. Why say this now to me when here I am, far away, back home, back at square one again? I could be with so many other guys that desperately want my attention. Why? Why would you even say or think of such a cruel thing? Not once did I ever think of you in this way. I brought this up with you once, but you seem to have forgotten that you said this to me during one of our lowest points in the relationship. These nightmares that I've had are a reflection of my inner self, how much turmoil and pain I am in. I've never had so many nightmares every night before in my life after I break up. I cared for and loved you so deeply. I think perhaps it was a mistake. I don't regret meeting you though, and the good memories we've had together. My time with you in that place and with our friends was probably one of the best times in my life. I know. We never officially became a couple, but I always treated you like we were one, loyal, honest, admiring, and caring, with the goal of a potential lifetime partner. However, I don't know about our future together now. I don't know if I can continue staying by your side as only a friend. I want to let it all go, but you refuse to let me go. September 11th, 2022 was when I had my last call with her, and where we discussed our future and everything we felt. A lot of words were exchanged in that hour on the phone, and it ended with us mutually breaking up peacefully. I hate to cry, but that was the first time I had cried in a very long time that night afterward. It pained me so deeply that she wanted to still keep in touch and be friends, while I wanted to forget everything. To summarize why our relationship ended, My love for her grew slowly over time, while her love was fiercely passionate at the beginning, but died over time. I know I could have been better, and I've talked to her about it, but by that time, it was already too late. I can admit and take responsibility for the failures on my end. A week passed by, then it became a few weeks, and she kept messaging and calling me to check on me, but I ignored it all as my heart couldn't bear it at the time. I am sure that had already moved on much earlier, but I had only just begun moving on. It wasn't until November 8th of 2022 that I finally replied to her. It took me almost 2 months to feel okay enough to chat with her again. I pulled myself together and decided to befriend her again for the sake of our group of friends, as we shared a very tight-knit group of mutual friends. We ended up not talking for a little over a month until it was almost Christmas. I got a message from her sending me pictures of my cats that we left with her ex-boyfriend. As much as I hated them, I also love and miss them very much. I am also happy to see that they were doing well and being taken care of. It wasn't until the first day of 2023 that she called me at 5 a.m. in the morning. I obviously missed that call because I was still asleep. But later that morning, I had a chance to talk to her over the phone. Her voice was filled with sorrow and hesitancy. I knew something was bothering her heart. Perhaps a fight or problem with her new boyfriend. She replied, no, not a boyfriend, which I thought was odd. But I kept pressing and reassuring her, to which she eventually confessed and said that she was sort of in a complicated unofficial relationship with a guy. The story that entailed brought forth a mix of emotions. I smiled in my heart, but at the same time I felt anger and, most importantly, sadness. So the guy that she was dating for the past few months was very sweet to her, in the way that he spoiled her as much as possible and treated her like a daughter, baby princess. But she was also not she, but he was also very insecure and controlling. He secretly memorized the code to unlock her phone so that he could check to see who she had been talking with. He would always ask her to send him pictures whenever she went out and keep tabs on her as much as possible. He also lacked some common etiquette or sense, like returning home late and making a lot of noise within the shared house where they live, or not properly washing any utensils or dishes with soap after using them, only giving them a quick rinse even if there's still oil on it. He was childish and vengeful, even though she had given him no reason to doubt her. He would talk badly behind her back to his friends, saying that she's crazy about him and that she is the one that keeps chasing after him, doesn't want to let him go. Where in reality, he was the one that was doing this. Eventually, she had the courage to leave and ended up moving to an entirely different city, away from friends and alone, to get away from him. On the day that he helped drop her off, he acted quite weird and awfully nice to her instead of always fighting. Turns out, he was in a rush to go see his ex-girlfriend, whom he didn't truly like, while his ex-girlfriend was still obsessed with him. This was most likely done out of spite, in an attempt to hurt her, and it did, because he would often tell her how much he loved her, but his actions didn't reflect his words. I was once again there to comfort her. I smiled in my heart because I thought to myself, ha, this is what you get. I felt anger in my heart because how could she give me up and everything I'd done for her to just end up with a terrible guy? Did my sacrifices mean nothing? Was it all in vain? I felt sadness in my heart because because her dream was to live her life in a different country, and that she would resort to taking the convenient, easy way out after all I've done for her. I understand you're a woman, alone in a foreign country without an easy way to earn or survive. But you signed up for this. You knew how hard it would be. It was heartbreaking again to hear that she ended up dating someone that was so toxic. I gave her an analogy. Imagine hearing someone say to you, "Oh, he's so sweet 95% of the time and only beats me up 5% of the time." Would that be acceptable? No. The bar should be set at 0% abuse, whether it be physical, emotional, or mental abuse. I want this chapter in my life to close. New year, new life. You've made your bed, now lie in it.